To the story now, members of parliament will debate President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address. It takes place in a two-day sitting scheduled for today and tomorrow. The energy state of disaster and a new electricity minister are expected to top the agenda. Our senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is watching that debate and joins us now with the very latest. Aviwe, quite a lot is expected there from today. I'm sure most political parties are prepared to go in for the kill because, if we remember correctly, just after SONA, not many of them were impressed with the president's address.
Not at all, Mfundo. In fact, they're back here at the City Hall where, of course, Parliament is sitting. That's the National Assembly as well as the National Council of Provinces geared up to debate then the President's address around the State of the Nation address. That is expected to take place at 10 o'clock, but coincidentally, it's actually running alongside a court process that's at the Western Cape High Court that has taken Parliament to court. It's one of the minority parties, that is the ATM. In fact, Vuyo Zungula is the president of the ATM who joins me now. Maybe just to try and iron out what the issues are. You remember that in December we were here where the independent panel report was deliberated on, voted on, and Parliament decided not to adopt that report looking into Phala Phala and not to actually set up an inquiry. Why then are we at court?
We're in court for two reasons. The first reason is that there's a constitutional court judgment that says members of Parliament take an oath to be faithful and loyal to the country. Therefore, when they vote, they need to vote in accordance to their oath of office. They need to vote in accordance to their conscience and putting the interest of the people first. Now, leading up to that particular vote, there were threats to the lives of Mr. Olomisa, of Mr. Nyonso. There was threats to the livelihoods of the members of the ANC. Therefore, by voting by means of an open ballot, the Speaker did not create a mechanism whereby members of Parliament can truly vote in accordance to their conscience. That is the first issue. The second issue is that Parliament instructed an independent panel to look at the facts, look at the information that was before them, whether there may have been wrongdoing on the side of the President regarding the issue of Phala Phala. This independent panel came back and said there is a case to answer. Now, a rational institution would have further inquired to determine the facts, whether there is wrongdoing or there is no wrongdoing. You'll recall in the Nkandla matter, the Chief Justice there said Parliament has betrayed the people of South Africa because it is a responsibility of Parliament to scrutinize and oversee the conduct of the executive. Now, all of the South African citizens, they are none the wiser when it comes to Phala Phala. They don't know whether the President has committed wrongdoing or he has not committed wrongdoing. Parliament, which is an institution that conducts oversight over the President or keeps the President accountable, failed in its constitutional mandate of scrutinizing or having an inquiry to determine whether the President is wrong or the President did not commit any wrongdoing. So we are going to court to say that action by Parliament not to adopt a report that says there is a case to answer, that action is irrational and it has betrayed the role of Parliament.
Constitutionally, they put it on a vote and it was voted for, and the majority of the members in Parliament decided not to adopt that report. Surely that's constitutional enough, isn't it?
Look, Aviwe, what is important is that Parliament must act consistently with the Constitution. There can't be a report from an independent panel of experts that is saying there's a case to answer. You, as an institution that is elected to scrutinize, oversee, investigate the conduct of the President, you do none of that. You don't investigate. You don't have any inquiry, whereas there's prima facie evidence of wrongdoing. That action is irrational. That action shows how unlawful that decision was. And this is at the backdrop of another court judgment in Nkandla, whereby the Constitutional Court said Parliament had failed in its constitutional mandate of oversight when it did not fulfill its, when it did not play an oversight role over the President. So what the Parliament is supposed to do, it is to always act in accordance to the Constitution. Parliament, can't say we have a majority who are going to act naganjanina. Any action of Parliament must be in line with the Constitution. What does the Constitution require of Parliament in relation to the President? It requires Parliament to scrutinize, investigate, and that is what Parliament failed to do.
Okay, and those are the arguments that will be heard on the last day today, and then judgment then will be set for a later date. We're here, of course, for the debate on the State of the Nation address. Take us through your key takeaways as the ATM when the President addressed the nation last Thursday.
Firstly, you cannot have a Minister of Electricity because and you put it in the presidency. Because what we've seen in the past, the president has, consolidated some of the functions of government to his presidency. What it effectively means, it does not have confidence in his ministers. That is the first issue. The second issue, the problem of Eskom requires engineers to be at the forefront. It does not require politicians or the creation of new ministries. And you cannot be having a state of disaster to fix the problems of Eskom. You need capable leadership in Eskom in order to deal with the issues that are affecting Eskom. So that is for us the key issues that we took from last week. And most importantly, all of the problems that we face when Aviwe in our country, from Eskom to the failing SOEs to the post office retrenching 6,000 workers, all of them, they are self-created because the government lacks political will to resolve the problems that we face as a country.
And with this national state of disaster, is it clear for members of parliament on how it's going to work and how soon then our load shedding woes will be dealt with?
Nothing is clear. There's no proper communication to say this is what was prohibiting the executive or Eskom or the minister from doing what needs to be done to turn around Eskom in terms of the legislation. Therefore, we are bringing this state of disaster in order to mitigate that. There's nothing. They're just saying state of disaster, hoping that we are going to think something is being done, because the character of Mr. Ramaphosa, it is to always create task teams, envoys, and all of these things, all in the view of wanting to appear as if he's doing something, whereas the proof should be in the detail, and there's no detail that is provided as to why does Eskom necessitate that there must be a state of disaster for it to be fixed.
All right, thank you very much. Vuyo Zungula is the president of the ATM here. As some of the members are trickling in, you heard the debates that we can expect here inside, of course, around those two key issues that came out on the president's address last Thursday. One of them being that national state of disaster. The other is being that Ministry of Electricity that will be under the presidency. But that's not the only matter that needs parliamentarians. The other is in court already, in the Western Cape High Court, where it's the second day of arguments. And of course, they're arguing around the matter that we heard last December, as that independent inquiry looking into Phala gave back its report. It says that an inquiry should be followed up by parliamentarians, but parliamentarians here in December voted against adopting that report. So that's why now the ATM has taken Parliament itself to court. So those two proceedings happening side to side here, as the first day of the State of the Nation debate will be taking place here at the City Hall. And on Thursday, President Cyril Ramaphosa expected then to respond to some of the arguments we'll be hearing over the next 2 days.